Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Marvin back at you. I'm out here in Swatara Falls, Swatara Falls. If you guys ever decide to come out here, kind of in the northern section of PA, you definitely want to make sure you look up the directions on how to get here. Tell the truth with all the different falls around. As serene as this one is, it would not be one of the ones I'd be so hyped to making a stop at. Not that it doesn't have its own pristine look or anything like that, but the parking is hell. I'm one of two cars here. Didn't even see the other person on the way down. They might be in another location here, maybe just hanging out, hiking through the park and coming on back to their car. But yeah, if you're ever in the area and it's the only one close, feel free to take the hike down if you can find the parking. There's like 2 or 3 gravel lots, a lot of puddles on the way here. I definitely got the mud all over the shoe right now, which can happen when you're hiking. That's fine, you know. But I figured I would come out here, hit me a spot before I bounce and go start doing some photography for a change. But with that being said, I'm out in nature as always, and I wanted to talk to you guys more about vibrations, because vibrations as a spiritual thing is the front runner to all things. When there is kind of a dark liquid medium, if you will, right? That dark liquid medium encompasses a space, but you could call that space the all, and anything that can't be occupied would be the nothing. And some people would call it God and things like that, but that medium is the reason that all things can manifest. Now, I'm giving you a point of view. You don't have to be very, you know, I'm not like shoving it on you, but I want to give you some type of mentality where things kind of connect to other things. And that's as close as we can usually get to the immediate truths around us, right? So here's my perspective on the whole thing with vibration. You got this medium, and through this medium, all things physical can manifest. That medium is a spiritual thing. Anything that manifests from it is the physical thing. And therefore, there's a barrier between the two to transition from one to the other. In order for that medium to manifest anything, there has to be a vibration, or what we would call the word, or what we would call sound, or what we would call an utterance. Right now I'm speaking, but I'm speaking because I'm giving an utterance of some sort. A different sound, a different vibration of certain frequencies, right? Going up, down, side to side, bolder, bigger, brighter. There's different ways you can perceive a sound. And when you perceive a sound, the more they build on top of one another, you get different sounds. So just from that, you can see all the different possibilities in the world. Now, when living in the world, we like in the consciousness world to talk about the vibrations. Do you vibrate on this person's level? Do you vibrate on that person's level? There's different reasons for using the word vibration, but there's a reason for that. Because given any certain set of circumstances where people exist or animals exist or things exist like plants, insects, things like that, your ability to vibe or vibrate with those things are important, because that determines how you get along with that thing. The better your understanding, your perception, the different ways that we use to connect with a thing through touch, sound, staring, watching, acting a certain way, having a certain feeling within you, because the non-physical signs is what nature tends to pick up. You can touch a plant, and the plant can feel the vibrations of you and determine whether you're a threat or not. The way you look to a certain animal can determine whether you're a threat or not. Your posture, getting down low and crawling and turning your back signals to a predator, you're easy food. So you need to understand these things. A boldness, a confidence about you can withstand a lot of tests of time, if you will, right? So vibration being very important. Even the things that we have around us, things that vibrate on a higher level, tend to look still. They become more solid over time. So there you have vibration kind of building over time and creating more solid things. And you can imagine how high of a vibration that takes. Now, this human body, this physical vessel, just happens to be something that vibrates in such a way that it can interact with just about anything. Whether that interaction be bad or good is not really what matters. It's the fact you can interact. And through your understanding and your perception and your connection with nature and your connection to the spirit, you have greater abilities to interact with the thing. To one person, fire is dangerous. To another person, it is something that can heal. To one person, the winds are dangerous. To another person, it can heal. Every human being needs water, but not all water is created equal. So by studying your environment, studying nature is part of the spice of life, right? And that's what I always want people to understand when they listen to me. Nature is the beginning and the spice of physical life. When you are here on earth, you think of your destiny as some major or something you must do. But you're here to experience. What consciousness is the understanding of things going on around you, and the fact that you are here to experience the physical of a thing non-physical. The thing non-physical we all like to talk about is spiritual things. So when we talk about spiritual things, we're talking about things non-physical that can manifest in the physical once it has been contemplated upon to bring it into a solidified state. Because what is consciousness is that medium I was talking about in the beginning. And when there's an utterance, a vibration within that thing, it explodes out. And as it explodes out and explodes out and explodes out, creating space, eventually the vibrations are so strong they start to contract and solidify into things. Electromagnetism, light, things that kind of build their way up. Water, table of elements, all the different elements you get. Different densities of electricity. Electricity is a form of light created by vibrations. Vibrations based on electricity and magnetism. And when they meet at a cross point, something physical, something tangible is usually created. When they stand alone, it's usually a physical result that can't be seen. What allows things to be received on Earth is usually when the element carbon is introduced. When the vibratory patterns meet up with carbon, that dark substance, that thing that makes the intangible tangible, it's beyond water. Because water can't be held, it slips through the fingers. Some of it may linger, some of it may absorb. Water doesn't follow the laws of gravity, so to speak, so it's a very good thing to study. But once carbon gets involved, carbohydrates, things like that, carbon, it's dark. Pressure it, you get diamonds. You attach it to plants, you get carbohydrates. Because remember, we breathe oxygen, we drink hydrogen and oxygen together in the form of H2O. And when we add a carbon, we have carb, O, oxygen, hydrate, carbohydrate. We have our food, we have our plants, we have our vegetables. And we're getting all this because the vibrations of the different world create the different colors and different experiences and different mediums and things like that that flow in different states based on how things that come together over time. Intelligence grows, things expand, the universe expands, and as the universe expands, energy, perception, consciousness also expands. And you always have the ability to tap into that. You can never think that your current physical world has the full explanation on everything you can experience. Because if you go by what you can physically see or what you can make connections to that you hear all the time, you're not physically manifesting that which you are. You have to understand that. You are the beginning of anything that manifests from the medium. Why? Because you can perceive of things based on your environment. By seeing a thing, it makes you think of what a thing can do, what a thing can become, what you should be able to do. Seeing a bird makes you wish humans can fly. Could they? We don't know. No one does it. But it's not for you to not believe and to not try, and to not try and manifest by connecting to the things around you. Understanding that what the thought and the mind can do over generations and generations, when a thought, a vibration in the mind that creates signals, your brain starts to build little neural networks and start building connections after it perceives its environment to study how to make the thing that you are speaking or thinking about manifest. Speaking is vibration. Thoughts are an internal small vibration. When these things collapse, when more people are around you thinking and feeling the same way, these vibrations collapse, and over time and over generations, new things become possible. They could become possible in your generation, but it depends on how strong the vibration, the signal you're sending out to the universe. It all depends on how strong that actually is. So understand, you come here to experience that which is here. And the generations beyond you, you teach them how to experience that which is here. You don't have to manipulate the things that are here. To an extent, right? Maybe you're in a cold climate, you need to stay warm. So you have caves, clothing, things like that. Everything is reciprocal when it's within nature. There's a reason that animals eat. They don't just kill because they're predator and another thing is prey. They need to eat when they get hungry. Lion can take down 500 pounds of meat and chill for a week, waiting for that to digest and nourish them. But at the time, prey could walk by when they're not hungry and they won't touch the prey. But when they're hungry again and the urges come, then they chase that prey. So when they capture the prey, they have something to eat. When they have something to eat, the babies have something to eat, and the cycle continues. You have an affinity to plants. Yes, you can digest meat, but this body is built for the greens, the plants, because the trees have something to offer you. And because they have something to offer you, you are to speak, hang with them, study them, partake in them. In certain cultures, before you take of an herb from a tree, you must ask for permission. Ask to the plant that it may be healing. It feels weird to you when you hear me say that because it's not something you do. It's not something you understand. But for the people who do it, they receive of the herb from the tree, which the herb from the tree has power. It has an energy. It's not something that's shipped across the world and turns up half dead. Again, when you take part of it, the energy is now within you and your body begins to respond. Herbs give off a certain vibration, a certain energy. It moves the energy. And herbs will move the energy in a certain direction. Circular, reciprocal, infinity signs, things like that. Balance. When you eat something hot, you become warm, hot. It may dehydrate you, or it may just warm you up. But either way, it may eventually turn cool again in the end stage. Until you extract something from it, just to get a certain property from it, it may heat you up. It may cause diarrhea, it may cause sweating, vomiting, and certain uncomfortable feats because the chemical balance has been broken. When the earth gives it to you in its proper form, the energy moves in a certain direction and it moves you back. This is why herbs are used for assistance in healing. They can heal because they perform a certain state. They put your body in a certain state where it can perform a certain task, which brings about the best respondents of what it is you are looking for. So, vibration doesn't just go through the food though. Vibration goes through the mind, through perception. A person who is depressed, anxious, may have something they can't calculate, can't pinpoint, but when the right thing comes to them in the right form of energy, that person suddenly feels whole again. They feel healed. You say the right thing to a person who is hurting. In their mind, that's all I needed to hear. The tears of hurt and pain eventually become tears of joy. They light up. You'll see things like their ears move back, their nose might flare, crack a certain smile, because you gave them a certain amount of energy through the utterance, through the vibration, and they picked up the signal from that, and it made them feel like everything they always wanted to be. Suddenly they heal. So they heal from the herbs, they heal from what you said, right? Healing is in everything, because there are different experiences that will make you hurt, but then other experiences that make you heal. It is the cycle of life is what you're feeling. That's what you're becoming conscious of. When you come out into nature, and you look at things of different colors, the plants, you stand out in the sun, you put your feet on the ground, not with shoes. And you move, because movement is life, because there's electricity and power in your body and energy you're giving off so that you can go to sleep and breathe, spiral the energy back in so that you can put more out again. And the sun lets out energy that you take in, exude it back from the way you move around. Sun gives you, you build, so you give back. You breathe, you give CO2 to the plants, they give you back oxygen. There's always an exchange going on. As long as there's an exchange going on, you're working within nature's principle. But it's best to keep nature's principles within nature, because when you create an artificial sense, artificial things are more physical. They remove the spiritual part. And when you remove the spiritual, you get imbalances. And for every imbalance, you need a mathematical equation to balance it back out. Now you're kind of depressed, you're anxious, you must get work done. You must do something that you yourself have sinned and caused upon yourself. You started a cycle of death and destruction in an area where you didn't need to. All because you were impatient. You wanted the world to become a thing faster than it should have been, instead of just experiencing within the energy of your body until the body, physical self, passes away, the spirit casts off and then recollapses back into a physical form again later on. So one never truly dies. The energy just transforms and moves. The consciousness builds, the universal consciousness that is God, that is in all of us, all the plants and all the things, each one holding a specific part. Only so that when one goes downhill, another moves uphill, and the reciprocating nature of things continue. It is the yin and yang, it is the lever of scales, it is the balance of scales, ma'at, as we say. Reciprocating. Energy out, energy in. Creating a balance. We live in the middle. Our body, it lives in the middle. It vibrates, tries to keep the vibration down, but if you try and hold your hand still enough, you'll always notice it's moving, because movement is life. And when there is no movement, there is no life, there is erosion, because that large thing that was created, that was built up, will start to erode and break down. And when it erodes and breaks down, it returns to the ground. And the grounds move it around until it reaches a place where it can be built back up again, perhaps in plants, perhaps in the soil, perhaps in the waters, perhaps in the rocks. When a person bleeds, you may see the stain on the ground, but time and chance happen to all things. The weathering patterns will cause it to dry up and absorb into the materials. The winds will blow, the waters will come, the construction workers, whatever have you, will eventually turn everything into dust and dirt again. Why? Because smaller pieces can be built up like Lego blocks to be used again, and again, and again, and again. And Earth has its own turnover system. Why? Because things vibrate, and when they vibrate and they move, those things are alive. So therefore you're alive. So you should move. Move within nature, flow with nature. Nature takes care of you when you take care of it. What you call natural disasters is a part of a process, and the more you're connected with that process, you understand when those things are going to happen. Animals do, birds know. When certain things start to happen within the atmosphere, they fly off, they get away. So that nature can take its course, so it can continue what it's doing. There's too many things bulked up in one spot. Natural disaster comes, washes it, breaks it down into smaller pieces again. It is not forgiving, it is a process, and you must understand it. If you're a human, you're an animal, insect, if you're in the way, you'll get caught in the process. Why? Because the earth is breaking things apart. We call it entropy. Tearing it down into small pieces so that it can be blended and mixed and then broken apart again, and blended and mixed and built up and broken apart again. And when it's built up in a human form, a conscious form of living biology, you have the ability to shape and manipulate it the way you want. But when you take it out of balance and you fall into physicality, into math, is when you find yourself anxious and depressed and out of balance. The sound on the proverbial violin is erratic. The notes are off. And you're trying to find that balance again, but the world won't let you. The first place to start is in the mind, where the cosmos is connected. And when you can be conscious of the way things work and understand that we are in a state of disarray, sin, some may call it. Your job is to have the proper mind state of where it should be and flow within nature and make sure you remain correct to the universe so that your energy always reciprocates correctly, because nothing ever dies. The energy change from one form to another, but it keeps reciprocating to create balance across the universe. And you're a part of that. I want you to respect that, and I want you to understand everything I just said. I hope you enjoyed it, because now I have to make my way to do photography. And it's good talking to you guys again. I'll get at you again later on. Hopefully I get some better light. It's a little dark over here near these rocks. Would like you to have seen my face a little bit more, but enjoy the sounds of the waterfall, watching this video. I'll catch you guys later.